Hello everybody, Flik here, and welcome to the 16th Let's Chat. This is my weekly vlog series that I post every Monday at lunchtime if you're new and have recently subscribed as a result of my Dark Souls 2 playthrough, and if you have, hello and welcome. And I hope you like this sort of thing. I don't do face cam because I'm not into that kind of thing, but I just like chatting a little bit every week with my subscribers about whatever, really. And I usually poll on Twitter just before I start recording these that if anybody has anything they want me to talk about or a question they want me to answer, they can send it to me on that and I'll cover it. So just before starting this, I have indeed done that, so if you hear my phone going off or whatever else, that will be Twitter, and it'll probably be some stupid question from CR about his ass or a hat or whatever, but I'll answer it anyway. And I do have a kind of throwback topic to cover today for this Let's Chat. If you're not familiar, a long time ago I used to do a bi-weekly podcast called Brain Go Hurry. And they usually went for about like an hour in length each, and it became a bit too impractical to carry on recording them. There is a playlist. I mean, I have a playlist for everything on my channel basically, but there is a playlist if you want to go back and listen to them. But the point I'm bringing it up for is that we got into this habit of starting every single one with a what have you been playing section, where you just kind of went over the games you'd been playing in the 2 weeks since the last podcast, gave a little bit of opinion on it, not necessarily a review, just a little bit of coverage of it and how you're finding whatever it is that you're doing. So I thought, for lack of anything better, assuming I don't get bombarded with questions on Twitter, and let's face it, that's not going to happen, I'd just do a kind of what have I been playing since last week. Because I do want to chat a little bit about a few games that I won't necessarily do a let's look at of, or maybe I already have in the case of Dark Souls 2. But I want to do this, so we're doing this time. And we're going to start with South Park, The Stick of Truth, which if you're a supporter of me on Patreon, you will have seen a little bit of, as I did that for your Saturday video on the 15th. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. I was really enjoying it when I first started it. If you're a fan of South Park, you will absolutely love it. It's basically an interactive movie, and it's well written, well acted, very distasteful, very racist at points, but also very funny. It lacks the social commentary that the show has these days, because if you aren't aware, they produce the show literally days before it airs now, so that's why they always do current event stuff now. That might put some people off, although I like that type of satire and I think they're very good at it. So that's why when I was younger I watched South Park because it was rude and distasteful, and then I grew out of it because I wasn't into that kind of humour anymore, but then I got back into it when they started doing the political and the social commentary. So I wasn't going to get the game, but then I saw I could actually get it for £30 on Amazon as opposed to the 40 that they were trying to get on Steam, which is hilarious. Ubisoft, you do not charge that for a game. But yeah, so I did pick it up and I thoroughly enjoyed it up to a point, although then I got stuck on I'll just say it's an abortion QTE. It's a quick time event where you perform an abortion. And ironically, if I'd gotten the console version, I wouldn't have been stuck, because that scene was cut from the console versions in the EU and Australia because of rules in Germany for us. I'm not entirely sure why it was banned in Australia, probably because Australia never lets them have anything fun gaming wise. Either way, that had me stuck because the QTE was slightly broken and I couldn't be arsed kind of bludgeoning my way through, just persisting until it worked. Thankfully there was a patch on whenever it was I recorded the Patreon video that fixed it, so I managed to carry on. I think I'm very near the end of the game now. I think I might actually be in kind of like the final dungeon, as it were. The setup is the characters are basically playing Dungeons and Dragons, for lack of a better term, and you are the new kid who has a mysterious power that's undisclosed, and you kind of get roped into playing this Dungeons and Dragons game. And it's turn-based. I mean, even if you ignore the South Park stuff, if you ignore the humour and whatnot, the combat is actually very fun as well. I compared it in the Patreon video to a set of Mario games for the DS where you do a lot of interactions during combat. You don't just press right, you're going to cast this spell now, or you're going to use this ability now. You do that, but then you have to perform a certain set of button presses or actions, and it's more than just quick time events. So they went with that kind of battle system, and it works a lot. It works really well, that's what I meant to say. So yeah, it gets a thumbs up. I don't think I'm going to do a let's look at of it. I may do, but I try not to do too many mainstream games unless I'm given the copy for review, in which case I'm kind of bound to do that. So yeah, I don't know if I will. Also, as I was saying in the Patreon video, it's very hard to do. I'm surprised so many people are attempting let's plays, playthroughs, whatever you want to call them, of the game. There's a ton of stuff that's against YouTube's terms and conditions. Ubisoft is totally fine with producing videos of their games. They're one of the few companies that are A-OK with it no matter what. But yeah, there's full frontal nudity, there's racism, as I was saying, and a whole bunch of other stuff that cannot be shown. I mean, it would only take one person reporting the video on YouTube and it would be gone and you would endanger your channel, so I would never risk it. I'm very surprised certain other people are, especially those who are saying that they're going to do it without editing, because without going into too much spoilers, there's a fight in the game where you're shrunk down to underpants gnome size, and while you're having this fight you have to avoid boobs and balls from smacking you in the face. That's South Park, The Stick of Truth, and that's also why it cannot be shown on YouTube. Definitely not. I mean, I suppose that if no one is going to report you, then it's fine, but... Fun fact, I did a full playthrough of Heavy Rain. If you actually watch that, there is parts missing of it. And why? Well, because they got reported. Because it had full frontal nudity, and I left it in because I considered it tasteful. Well, no, actually, it's not full frontal nudity. It's boobs. You see boobs in one of the parts that got removed by YouTube. I didn't get a strike, by the way. It just gets removed for not obeying community guidelines. Although that was a long time ago, so I imagine it's more strict these days. And another part got deleted for the same reason, because two people had relations in it. You don't actually see sex, but you see the beginnings of sex, and apparently that's enough, because, you know, sex is the most disgusting thing humans can do, apparently. I got kind of off track there, but yeah, I highly suggest the Stick of Truth, even if it's the censored version on consoles. It's shitty that you get a censored version on there, and if you're in the EU or Australia. But it's only a few scenes, and they are very distasteful scenes, I suppose. So, by the way, a rough aside, another kind of aside. If you're curious, my favourite episode of South Park is from is it the 13th or 12th season? It's the one called You Have Zero Friends, and it's the one that makes fun of the Facebook culture. I related with that so very much, and I highly recommend that particular episode. I think you can probably find it on YouTube. Maybe, I don't know. YouTube's cracked down on that kind of thing recently. But yeah, so that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, and that took quite a while. The second thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was Dark Souls 2, although as you'll probably have already seen, I did a 40-minute review video of it. And thank you very much for the positive feedback, both on the review itself and then also the start of the playthrough, where I'm doing a full mage build. I'm not going to give in, rather. I'm going to resist and not dabble in pyromancy and focus on melee combat too much. I'm going to try and do something I never did in Demon Souls and I never did in Dark Souls, which is 100% pure sorcery. It's not suiting my style, and I found it really tough, although thankfully now that the EU servers are up, I've been able to get some help from players. And I know that's tacky to kind of rely on players, because then basically you're not doing anything yourself, but I'm resigning myself to doing that because I'm clearing out the areas first myself so I can talk at my own pace. Because if I had no one I knew with me in the game, they'd want to rush on to the boss. I don't want to do that. I want to take my time and explain to the player how to fight enemies, because yeah, you can run through all the enemies. It's massively possible. In fact, it's the preferred strategy if you've already died to the boss a few times and can't be arsed making the enemies stop respawning. But I like taking my time a little bit, showing how to fight certain enemies, and also where secrets are, because I do know where a fair few secrets are. So I totally lost my train of thought there. I was talking about secrets, talking about Dark Souls 2, and the playthrough, yes. So yeah, I don't have a problem with bringing in player help for bosses, because I'm doing the actual exploring the area by myself. Plus, I already did a 100% solo playthrough by myself before the game was released, using a build I'm familiar with, my melee build. So I don't feel bad about doing that, although I haven't really had any feedback on that yet, because no parts where I did actually bring in other players have gone up yet. I've got quite a backlog because I've been playing so much Dark Souls 2. It's actually interrupting all my other series. I keep on meaning to do some more Monster Hunter, but I've only got one more hunt in the bag at the present, whereas I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Dark Souls 2 videos to upload. That is ridiculous. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. And there is a lot of confusion about why I like Dark Souls 2 so much compared to Dark Souls 1. I hope I kind of covered all that in my review though. And I did still get people complaining about the fact I didn't like Dark Souls 1, but what I didn't get was the fact that people thought that Dark Souls 1 was entirely fair. Dark Souls 1 was not entirely fair. I mean, you can like the game, but you cannot argue that it was fair. I'm sorry, you just can't. But I won't go into... I got enough insults thrown at me back when I did my written review of Dark Souls for Critical Gamer. It's one of the few things I wrote for them which got me the entire vitriol of the internet on me any bad word or any horrible name you can think of calling a person, I probably got called it as a result of either my Dark Souls review, just because I didn't like the game, and I did justify my points for the record, even if you disagree with them. I didn't like L.A. Noire, hated it, and I did a massive review on that, pointing out all the massive flaws with the way it was executed. And the fun thing about that is I just got insulted with that one. I mean, with Dark Souls there was actually coherent arguments against why I was wrong. L.A. Noire, nope. Everyone just went straight to making fun of me because it's a Rockstar game. You're not allowed to dislike Rockstar games, even if they're horribly made and only published by them, not actually made. But whatever. And the third thing I did for Critical Gamer that got me in a lot of bother with the angry people on the internet was I did an article, not a review, celebrating the fact that Bulletstorm didn't sell well because it was quite frankly an abortion of a game. And I'm so glad that technically everybody agrees with me, even if the internet doesn't, because it didn't sell well, so that proves it. It was horrible, it was tacky, it was lowest common denominator. It was like Call of Duty, but even more so aimed at children. Ugh. Anyway, I've got massively sidetracked now, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of cover that. So, I'm thoroughly enjoying Dark Souls 2 still. It's definitely one of the best things I've played this year. And I am considering actually buying it for myself once the PC version is out. If the PC version has the graphics that it was supposed to have, because I think everyone's seen now, there's comparison shots going around from the early videos of Dark Souls 2 compared to now, and it's really ugly now compared to what it used to look like in the preview videos. So I'm holding out hope that that's because that was done on PCs, because preview videos usually are. It's not nice that it's always hidden that it's a PC, but whatever. Like at E3 all the Xbox One games were running on PC, for example. Yeah, but if the PC version looks as good as the original kind of trailer videos and whatnot of Dark Souls 2, I'll probably buy it, especially since I didn't buy the console version, I've given it for a review. So if I like the game enough, I do feel like I want to support it a little bit by buying it, but I'll wait and see, because also they're trying to get 40 quid for that on Steam as well, and I'm not paying £40 for a PC game. I'm sorry, but no more than 30. If need be, I'll wait for it to be in a sale, but yeah, I hope it has the graphics the game was supposed to have. Apparently the game used to be a hell of a lot darker as well. I don't mean in a mood sense, I mean in a literal sense, which made the torch mechanic necessary. Like, I don't mean optional, I mean necessary. And people complained when they tried that beta, the closed type beta thing, and now the whole game as a whole, yeah, that makes sense, kind of, got made brighter to the point where the torch is actually redundant in 95% of situations, which I prefer, because quite frankly, if the whole thing you barely couldn't see, it would be terrible, because torches are finite. You can't guarantee that you always have enough, and if you didn't have any, I assume if the game was pitch black almost, that it would be unplayable. So I'm kind of glad they made that change. It would definitely make it harder, because it would be constantly intimidating, barely able to see a few feet in front of you, so I get it. But I probably shouldn't talk anymore about Dark Souls 2. I share some of my thoughts about the game as I play it. The playthrough is obviously spoilerific since I'm progressing through the game. I'm not going at a massively quick pace, so if you are kind of holding out for the PC version and not wanting to spoil the late game, you can certainly watch quite a few parts into my playthrough and not see any more than... Well, put it this way, as I said, I had, how many? I've got 7 videos yet to upload, there's 4 or 5 uploaded at this point. I've not done any of the Great Souls, as in any of the 4 souls you have to get to do the first criteria for the game. So, that should give you some idea. I've killed quite a few bosses though, so if you're wanting to avoid bosses, then, you know, you would have to not watch. But I'll leave it up to you, and if you are supporting the series, thank you very much. It's proving very popular so far, and I'm very glad. So the last game I wanted to talk about, as we kind of run on a bit longer than I was planning here, and also you'll notice, sad face, that I got no Twitter messages at all. What's everyone doing on a Saturday at 1 o'clock? Anyway, the last game I wanted to briefly talk about is Titanfall. I am playing the full game in my off time currently. I'm trying to get back up to the point where the beta left off, so then I'm not just retreading old ground, so I have all the upgrades and whatnot. I like it, still enjoy playing it. I'll probably be doing videos of it. I'm just trying to get better at it first, and also get used to the new maps, because there was only 2 in the beta. Initial thoughts, I played through the multiplayer campaign, and that's the only campaign in it for the record, as both sides, and the campaign is done in a lazy way, even already considering that it's a lazy campaign because it's multiplayer matches. It doesn't matter which side wins, the story progresses in the exact same way other than a bit of dialogue changing, and then you get one of 2 kind of still picture endings depending on who wins the final battle. Really, really lazy. But, you know, still interesting I suppose, and it has voice acting that 90% of the time everybody ignores. I don't even get why most people play the campaign. if they're going to ignore the story, but whatever. The campaign maps also have NPC titans and NPC special soldiers that are there, and they're not very well programmed. Like the NPC titans are overly good at getting sudden speed bursts and then just coming over and crushing you like through walls and stuff, so the mechanics need tightened a little bit on there. And I was talking about this on Twitter as well, but the game has, you can mute people the same as you could in the beta, but now it has text chat, and I really wish you could turn that off, because I don't need to see people on my team, people on the enemy team insulting each other, insulting me, insulting everybody, racial slurs, homophobic slurs, just everything else. Oh, excuse me. Because it's putting me off doing videos. Now, obviously I can just ignore it as I play, but say someone saw in my video that two people were having a horribly racist slang match, shouting match at each other in the comments of the match while we played, and then they reported my video as a result of what was being said. Even though I had no direct influence, I still put it on YouTube. I would be liable for that. And, you know, people suggested blurring out that section of the screen. It would be distracting if I did that, I think. So I'm not entirely sure yet. To be fair, it's not always like that. It's just, you know what the internet is like. Put any people in a room and there's bound to be people who will argue. I mean, it was the same in Elder Scrolls Online. I find it distracting. I really wish there was the option to turn the chat off. And I hope that they add that in, because it adds nothing. I loved that in the beta it could be totally silent if you wanted. You don't need to hear everybody, because then that way you can think about every enemy as being the NPCs, and it stops you raging at it, because, you know, it doesn't get personal, especially if someone's shouting slurs at you, you know, then it's very highly likely it'll become personal. So I'm going to leave that there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little look at the kind of things I've been playing, the little discussion and tangents I went on. I'll probably have more to say about Titanfall at a later date. I haven't spent enough time with it yet, because I'm still playing Dark Souls 2, and I'm still playing Stick of Truth until I finish it, although as I say, I think I'm very close. So anyway, that's going to conclude this. Now I'm going to go probably do a bit more recording, not of Dark Souls. I'll try and force myself to do something else, maybe. And tonight we've got our Saturday Steam group. If you aren't aware of what that is, every Saturday I host Flik's Gaming Stuff Steam group night for my viewers, and we usually just muck around on some game like TF2 or iSketch. I think we're going to try and make this one tonight Titanfall, depending on how many people actually have it, but we'll see. Or you'll have already seen by the time you hear this, I don't know. But anyway, every Saturday at 7 PM GMT is when I host those. And that's going to conclude this Let's Chat. I hope I didn't accidentally call this Let's Look at any point during this, because I did record one yesterday and I'm pretty sure I made the opposite mistake. I said hello, welcome to Let's Chat. Anyway, random aside is done. This went on too long. Thank you for listening. See you next Monday, and ta-ta for now.